Half of my job's on radio. Nobody can see. I think this point forward, I'm going tennis shoes. Rest of my life. I wore tennis shoes all last week. I didn't have to show off or anything, dress shoes. And I thought to myself, why am I wearing dress shoes? Would you wear anything that's less comfortable? No. From this point forward, why my wife hates when I wear tennis shoes. I'm going to wear tennis shoes, and I'll have to deal with that part of it later. I'm all tennis shoes now, starting tomorrow. Yeah. She'll be yelling at me, but my feet will be comfortable. So you accept some things and deal with other things. So there's a story this morning. The Panthers, Carolina, would go all in for Deshaun Watson. They would give 3 first-round picks, Christian McCaffrey, and Teddy Bridgewater. And I think it actually works for both teams. So I think Deshaun works for the Jets. I think Deshaun works for Carolina. I think he works for a lot of people, but here's why it works. First of all, Christian McCaffrey's still a star, but he got banged up last year. He's a running back. Once they start getting banged up, they generally don't get healthier. Number 2 is 3 first-round picks for a quarterback. Jamal Adams got 2. He's a safety. I do it in a second. But there is this assumption in the NFL that you draft a quarterback, and then over time, you develop a quarterback, and then Super Bowls follow. But let's just think about the last 5 years. Tampa acquires Tom Brady, right? Okay. And then they won a Super Bowl. And then Peyton Manning went to Denver. And then Jimmy Garoppolo to San Francisco. I didn't draft those quarterbacks. By the way, the Saints never drafted Drew Brees. If you just look at Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Garoppolo in the last 5 years, teams don't draft them. Teams don't develop them. They just go acquire them, find them, get them, trade for them, free agent, whatever. And they get to Super Bowls 3 of the last 5 years. Let me throw 2 other quarterbacks out there. Ryan Tannehill was acquired. Kirk Cousins, say what you want. Minnesota, until last year, had been a very high-end NFC team. Again, Drew Brees was not drafted or developed by the Saints. Carolina's got the number 8 pick, and this is really valuable. Carolina would have to give up. To get the quarterback they want in this draft, they would probably have to give up picks to move up. So why not just give up picks and get Deshaun Watson? What's the difference is I know what I get with Deshaun Watson. And I think if you look in division for Carolina, this makes sense. Breeze is retiring, Matt Ryan's past his peak, and Brady's old. And I also think from the Houston Texans perspective, first of all, what you need is first-round picks. You get 3 minimum. What you need is a little star power. Christian McCaffrey is star power. What you need is a bridge quarterback and a quarterback for the future. Well, Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0 last year, not this past year, the year before when he had to start in New Orleans. So you get a bridge quarterback, kind of an Alex Smith-level guy for a year, who's a very good mentor, very smart guy, and then you could take that 8 pick and you could draft another quarterback because there's 5 quarterbacks going to get drafted in the first round. Mac Jones is probably 5. You'd probably get Trey Lance, who, by the way, Trey Lance has a little Deshaun Watson where he's a winning quarterback. He's got a lot of mobility. He's got an above-average arm. He's a playmaker. That's what Deshaun is. Deshaun's not your classic pocket guy, but he's a playmaker. So if I'm the Houston Texans, I could get Bridgewater bridge for a year. I get a star running back. I get draft picks. I got J.J. Watt just left. Deshaun just left. So now I have some draft capital. I mean, you got to remember what Houston has. They have a dilemma. They got no draft picks and no cap space. And this could take care of a lot of that stuff. So I don't think it's crazy. I don't believe this. There's only one way to do it with quarterbacks. Peyton Manning wasn't drafted by Denver. Brady wasn't drafted by Tampa. Garoppolo wasn't drafted by the Niners. Ryan Tannehill not drafted by the Titans. Kirk Cousins not drafted. You can go acquire guys, and I think what you're going to see is, and you're really going to see this with Chicago and Indianapolis, where Chicago's defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl. They probably need to get a quarterback. They absolutely need to get a quarterback, and they probably have to have a fairly strong draft on the offensive line and wide receiver. I'm not sure if Allen Robinson wants to stay. Maybe he does if Wentz comes. Big-armed Wentz and Allen Robinson, to me, would be a great combo. And the Colts, similarly. Colts I don't necessarily buy San Francisco's moving off Garoppolo. I keep hearing that. I have a hard time believing a quarterback goes like 26-6, and you got to the Super Bowl in his first year as a starter. Everybody's absolutely sure the Cowboys won't move off Dak, but everybody's sure the Niners will move off Garoppolo. Well, Garoppolo has a higher winning percentage than Dak. And I just don't believe Kyle Shanahan's going to trade Garoppolo and go into a season trying to – Kyle Shanahan's got to start winning games. Right now it's all based on reputation, his dad, what we think he will be as a coach. He's got to win more games now. So I think Garoppolo wins games. So we'll see how it goes. But this one I kind of buy into with Deshaun Watson. I think it works for both teams, and I'd like to see it happen. And Deshaun Watson's miserable. He doesn't want to play in Houston. And, I understand he signed a contract. I get it. But the reality is, do you want somebody in-house that's miserable? And the answer is almost always in sports, no. You don't want a coach that wants another job, and you don't want a quarterback that wants to play somewhere else. And it just happens to be a year. You could get Bridgewater and a rising star in the draft. Go for it. Sometimes driving is great. Sometimes